but it's all good. Right, we'll right. It says we're live, and Dave, it wouldn't be the same if we didn't check that we're live.
Yeah. How do we know?
We usually get confirmation.
Are we live a lot,
Lauren,
until the answer comes to us.
Have a little look. I know we usually are.
Normally, Lauren on the phones will drop me a message and tell me.
We're live. Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Hey everyone, it's Andy here, Dave and Ali. Another Tuesday tune in. Yeah, you might be thinking, okay, who's this blonde-haired lady on the on the call with us? But yeah, this is Ali. She recently joined us, joined the team. And Ali, say hello.
Hi.
As you can tell, she's from Sunderland.
I am American.
Yes.
Great stuff. Now Ali's joined the team, and she's got a lot of experience. She's going to be a fantastic part of the community. So yeah, today we're going to start off doing a little bit of a Q&A. I don't know if you were watching when we brought in Fee. Do a little bit of a Q&A, and then we'll also then discuss the topic, which we're talking about, treadmill versus outdoor hiking, which is something we were discussing recently, and about sort of mainly indoor stuff versus outdoor stuff, and we thought, why not? We'll do a little bit of a live about it instead.
Yeah.
Right, Dave, I know that Lauren's compiled some questions, right?
She has, yeah. So Lauren sent me the questions, and I'm going to ask. These are like quick fire ones. You don't get too long to deliberate.
Gosh, I don't even know what you're going to say. I have no idea.
No, well, I won't. Let's find out together, because I haven't read them yet. Okay, hot or cold weather?
Oh, hot.
Okay. Ooh. Least favorite smell?
Mayonnaise.
Favorite smell?
Essential oils.
Right.
Wow.
What's the funniest British word that you've learned? Is it a swear word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's okay.
It's B-U-G-G.
Oh, bugger.
And then it sounds like but when I say it, it's
Okay, like bugger off.
Bugger. That's like, because I can't.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
I don't eat that many weird things. I ate alligator.
Okay.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
USA or UK?
It's in my blood. USA.
Yeah. Singing or dancing?
Singing.
Okay. What's the best dish to cook to?
The best what?
Well, what's the best dish to cook? These are some weird questions.
Takeout.
Okay, takeout. Nice, like that answer. What's the most useless talent that you have? What's your party trick?
I can go like that and bend over to the floor, just all the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's that called? Is that called the crab or the bridge?
It sounds more like a bridge than a crab, I think.
Yeah.
I think the crab is when you're waddling.
Okay. Describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words.
Confused. Didn't know how to wear makeup. Not sure how you would say that. Emo.
Yeah.
Wow, you and Fee, man, yeah, very close.
Screamo, really, but emo. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Beer or wine?
Both, but mostly beer.
Yeah. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What's the best thing about living in Wales? Is it the weather?
Everybody's accents, especially the Valley's accent. I love hearing a Valley's accent. It's so fun. It's like they're singing a song.
All right then, Ali. Let's go on to the next one, shall we? So, what's your favorite breakfast?
Bacon and eggs and kale.
Okay. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Kale. Love kale. Invisibility.
Nice. Mountains or sea? I'll stop doing the Welsh accent now because I'll offend my fellow countrymen.
Mountains or sea? Well, I'm from both, so both. Ha.
Okay.
I don't have to choose.
Okay, this is weird. I wonder if these are just straight from Lauren's mind. What would you name your boat if you had one?
A boat?
Yeah.
That's a weird one, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, because what came to mind was Bodie McBoatface because of all of that.
Yeah, that's a good name.
I have no idea.
You can go
It'd
with
be
that.
like the it would be like the SS or something dumb that was like hard to say. I don't
Okay,
know.
the SS something dumb. That's what we've gone with. What's your favorite season?
Summer. Summer.
What destination do you hope to do your first trek with EverTrek?
Well, you've sold me on EBC, so I think that's
EBC?
what I'll do. Yeah.
EBCs. And
Good one.
what has your first week been like with EverTrek?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's been great. It's been really good. It's been funny, and it's weird doing the whole remote thing, but
Yeah.
it's been really good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's it. And she had to say that contractually.
It's all good. It has been a bit of a challenge.
That's it for the-
It's typical with the local lockdowns. Dave's still in prison. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'm in prison still, yeah.
Poor thing.
I like what you've done there, Dave, as well.
What do you mean?
Very good, very good. Basically, last week Dave was unfortunately, because he's had to work from home, but it does look like you're in prison.
Yeah, it's been commented a few times that I look like I've been in prison. So yeah, I'm rolling with it.
And look, everyone that's joined, I know there's a few questions already dropped in, but yeah, good to see some of the regulars, some new people as well. We've also got a bunch of questions that come in on the email, so we'll tackle those. But yeah, where should we start, Dave? With regards to the treadmill versus
I suppose the question that comes up a lot is, you know,
is Ali's off?
Is Ali up? If you're from the Netherlands,
she's off. Are we left with
from like
a
very flat part of the UK? Can I train adequately enough to go on an expedition? So can I train adequately to go to EBC, to climb Killy? She has gone. You know, if I'm doing indoor training and working on a treadmill. And it's an interesting, question, because it puts people in, it can seemingly put people in a little bit of an awkward position, because if they don't have any mountains locally to them that they can go and climb, there's that seed of doubt that can progress. You know, have I trained enough? Am I mountain fit? Am I able to go and climb a mountain and things like that? So, I think we wanted to discuss a little bit today about, you know, if you are doing a lot of your training on the treadmill, you know, does it make any difference or anything like that?
Yeah, nice. No, I think it's a lot of trying to get my words out now. It's a question that comes up a lot, isn't it? I mean, people are saying, look, especially during the last 6 months when, you know, we haven't been able really to go that far, especially now if there's certain parts of the UK. I know South Wales is pretty much in lockdown right now, a local lockdown. It is a challenge. I know we had Lee Wardle on right at the beginning of all this, where we talked about you know, the things we can do indoors, but it did crop up as like with regards to how your body reacts to training indoors, training outdoors. And we were like, there's no harm in doing the indoor stuff, you know, going to the gym, doing the treadmill side of things, you know, even if you've got the Stairmaster day, which I know that you really like doing because it strengthens your legs.
It's a really good simulation because, you know, when we track the destinations that we go, they always seem to be the same thing, which is like it seems like you're on a Stairmaster, because we do a lot of climbing, particularly in Nepal. The landscape is naturally very stepped, and that takes you right up to the glacier, and then from Gorakshep to EBC you're over the glacier, which is, you know, rough and, you know, stepped in itself. So I found that doing the Stairmaster like really like gets the legs like good and strong and just builds resilience. But what we always talk about, and what we've mentioned a few times, is being, you know, mountain fit, ready for the trip. One thing I've always said is that I don't believe that there's any real substitute for getting out there and walking up hills. But what I do want to clarify, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go to Snowdon every weekend, or
Exactly.
If you've seen the pictures of Snowdon, my God, you wouldn't want to go there at the moment. Have you seen those guys? Like,
I've seen that, man.
To the summit of Snowdon last weekend are insane. I've never seen anything like it. But you know,
the thing is with that, Dave.
Just
when we're talking about that, because I saw that on the weekend, and I kind of come through it from two ways. Like, I don't like seeing the queues on Snowdon, but you know, it is the way it is that it's popular. But also, we have to remember what, and I think I forgot the gentleman who said this. It was on Twitter. I think his name was Grant, something like that, and he mentioned that you know, going up Snowdon for him was like quite a big thing, and it is. you know, because everyone's Everest is different, but it changed his life. And I kind of like to think that all those people that are going up there, it's similar thing, even though it's busy and it's popular. A lot of those people that are going up Snowdon, a lot of those people that are at Pen y Fan, and same with Ben Nevis, you know, the popular mountains, although they're busy, it's what it's doing for those particular people. I'm not saying, you know, you should go up there and queue up, but it's actually, it could potentially change those lives individually.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. There is so many people now who are looking to the mountains, who are looking to get out there, and it could potentially change their lives with, okay, I've done Snowdon, what's next? I know a lot of the people who are on here, I know you've all had a certain journey that you've started hiking, you know, some maybe smaller mountains in the UK, and then I know there's a lot of people on here who've already been with us.
Yeah.
Sinead and Max, I know you've been to Everest Base Camp with us, and it can potentially sort of open your mind to what's next. So yeah, I don't know. I was just, that was on my mind over the last couple of days, because I've seen those queues a lot, especially once the lockdown was like, right, you can go, you're off. The mountains are as popular as ever, but you know, there's a lot of places you can go in the UK, not just.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is as well, like my father, when he went to base camp, did pretty much all of his training in like urban areas, you know. So and we live pretty close to, you know, Pen y Fan, the Brecon Beacons, you know, so we can go there anytime we want. But actually, it's about hill walking is the key word there. Hill walking. It's not like so if you are in a position where you feel like your only option is the treadmill, you know, there's always a way around it. You can train for it, you know, EBC or Killy in the urban environment. You know, I've seen people go into like, you know, like a load of steps, which they pretty much have in every city, with a weighted pack on, and then doing squat lunges up and down the steps and going up and down and stuff like that. You know, so what I would say, you know, if you are thinking about using a treadmill and stuff like that, is it can be a great way to build cardiovascular fitness. But in my opinion and in my experience, it doesn't do much for strengthening the legs and building that endurance in. And in order to get mountain fit, I think the best way to do that is to be able to walk up hills, do squats, do strengthening, stuff like that, which ideally, you know, you can go and do it in the mountains because it's a fantastic place to be. But, you know, you can get that sort of training in, like, you know, on the streets in the urban areas, stuff like that as well. Well,
Mick makes it, hey Mick, good to see you on here, mate. I hope you're well. He makes a good point that if you do live, you know, maybe next to the beach or, you know, on some flat areas, you can just chuck some weights in the backpack, you know, and obviously, Mick, you got to hydrate afterwards, mate. But yeah, you can certainly build up your strength that way, which I think is a very good point.
Yeah, I see.
Anywhere, even on your own stairs if you can't get out at the moment. But it's
Marie has actually raised a good question there, which is about her climb to Killy. If I remember right, I think Marie, I see her a lot on like Pen y Fan and stuff like that. But she's asked, you know, she is a little bit concerned about the endurance for her Killy climb next year, and what walking multiple days in a row is going to feel like compared to, you know, what it's like just doing like a day's training here, a day's training there, and stuff like that. And what the best analogy that I can kind of find is, you know, by doing that day's training here, that day's training there, as long as you're doing it consistently, sort of most weeks, that is training for multiple days in a row. You know, because it's not going to be forever. It's an 8-day climb, and some of those days are, you know, not that hard. Summit day, you just, you know, summit day is like, you know, when people train for a marathon, they say, I'll train for 20 miles and I'll find the extra 6 on the day. You know, so that's what it is. Like for summit day, you know, you can train and you can just do that training on a fairly regular basis. Ideally, you can do 1, 2, 3 days in a row if you have a week off or something like that. But, you know, most of the training I do is not on consecutive days. You know, when I'm doing a trip and something like that, you know, I'll mix it up. I'll do some walking, then, you know, a day later I might do some cycling, then I might have 2 days off, and then I might do some strength work. And all of that combined means that you are capable of going every day, you know, and doing an 8-day multiple trek and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, no, that's well put, Dave. I think it's one of those, isn't it? Because especially if people work sort of Monday to Friday and you've got the weekend, but you've got commitments, family, you know, all these things, it's hard to do multiple days sometimes. But yeah, if you can just get out, pack on your back, do some mileage, you know, we definitely prefer the outdoors, you know, anywhere if you can. maybe try and fit in. I know a few people on here. I think Laura Collins mentioned you got 3 years to your trip. I know if you're booking far ahead, that a lot of people do now, especially with good old COVID happening. It's it gives you time to maybe put some weekends we can go away and plan some trips in the UK. It's something we've been thinking of ourselves, because we at the moment we're like gagging to get out, and especially in some of the mountains. We can't at the moment with South Wales, but when we can, we'll certainly be back out in the mountains. But yeah, like loads of questions, Dave. I know we've started off about this, but I'll go through the questions because there's quite a number now we got here. I think Matthew Wood mentioned about completed the Altitude Center 6-minute summit challenge. I saw that. That looked.
Are these the email questions as well?
No, this is off the live.
Okay, I missed it
earlier. I'll bring Matt's question up. He mentioned about you started at 2,700 meters. It was in their hypoxic chamber, isn't it? So they do increase you. And you, I'm not going to read your whole question. It's quite long. But is that an indication of what it might be like Kili for 2021? Yeah, it's one of those things with. I mean, the Altitude Center are great. We obviously collaborate with them with regards to the training. With regards to how it feels, it's very difficult to mimic.
Yeah.
The way that you'll feel actually on Kilimanjaro. It is slightly different. Your body will react for a short period of time because you're only there for I don't know if you were there for an hour or so. And we know some other trekkers who have been there and they've done like half hour, 45 minutes in say 3,300 meters. You can certainly get out of breath more, but I personally don't think it mimics altitude as such. Not to the levels that you can get on a real trip. That's why we always encourage people to get out and get fit, because the altitude you'll work that out when you're there. Because you listen to your guide, you take it slow, you enjoy yourself. It's not like you go there and then next thing you know you're struggling to breathe. You'll be able to breathe the same. You just be breathing more often.
Yeah, and with regards to sort of going up 8K on your back, 8% incline, 66 meters in 6 minutes. That seems like that's like a really good pace. You like just so you know, like on Kili, you wouldn't get any particularly on summit day. You're not looking at anything like 66, meters in 6 minutes. So that's what you're doing is really good because it's going to train you and it's going to get your body used to sort of working hard under load at altitude. But when you're actually on the mountain and you've been exposed to that altitude for 7 days up to that point, you walk very slowly, and we use slowness as a key, as a tool to acclimatize. So one thing I would say is train your body, get it as strong as possible, and then when you're on the mountain, follow the mountain rules, which are we walk very slowly, we gain our altitude gradually, we drink lots and we eat lots. And we try and sleep lots. We did one on sleep, didn't we? But yeah, so you go really, really slow. So Matthew said, he was literally dying. I was thinking, 66 meters in 6 minutes is pretty special. So fair play, mate. You probably got a good engine in there.
You'll be fine.
But when you're on Kili, take it easy. Even when you're going up Kili, there are steep points where you'll be like breathing hard and stuff like that. But what we always try and say is we want to aim to be at a pace where we could talk, So even if me and Andy are going up a real steep section, I should be able to look at him and go, "Whew, this is hard. What do you reckon, and and have a conversation." So that's sort of the level you want to be aiming for. But mate, well done on that, mate. That's epic.
I saw that challenge. I don't know who kind of won. I know some of the guys at the Altitude Center clearly have a bit more practice and super fit, but you'll be fine on Kili if you're doing it.
I reckon I would have done 6 meters in 66 minutes. I think would have been.
Okay, right. We're going to move on to the next question. I got one from Danny Mitchell here, and it was about trekking poles. I know we talked a bit about poles before, but what makes should you look at? Do you need to buy a pair or can you just use one? Yeah, there's a few makes. You've got Black Diamond, Lecky. You've got some of the other makes. You've got OEX. They're quite depends where you're shopping, but I know somewhere like Go Outdoors you got OEX. With trekking poles, don't feel like you have to spend a lot of money on them. There's some that you can buy for £20 for a pair. There's some over £100. There's a real big difference. But the quality isn't really that different. I've used ones that I've bought in Kathmandu in a local store for like £5, and they lasted me 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was 2. So you can get them locally. You know, if you're just talking about if you go into Nepal, you can also get them locally in Tanzania. But yeah, Dave, you're a bit of a convert, aren't you? You never used to use them, then you use one, and now you've used 2 a lot.
Yeah, so I never used 1. I think 2 is better than 1 overall in my experience now. But I definitely think that, you know, although, you know, I talk a lot about, like, you know, I buy a lot of this gear, I'm definitely not a gear snob, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that good is good enough, as we always say. And I think that you don't have to go out and spend £130 on a pair of poles.
Exactly.
You know, like you can go outdoors and buy a pair that does just as good. Get used to them, see if you like them, and if you use them a lot, then you can perhaps upgrade, you know, because to like these carbon poles, because they last a lot longer and stuff like that. But you know, yeah, I think that poles are actually really good now, and I bring them on every trip that I do.
Yeah.
Because my main issue was going downhill. I've had to change a couple of things, but introducing poles was a big one. So for like long, prolonged, steep hills, have the poles, have them slightly longer than usual, pull them out in front of you, and it just takes a load off the knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, poles is one of those things, it comes up quite a lot. And my advice is always the same. Buy a cheap pair, trial them out. Don't abandon them after your first trip, because they take some getting used to.
Yeah.
So, you know, use them 5, 6, 7 times. And then after that, if you've tried them for like 2-3 months and you've done loads of walks and you still can't stand them, throw them to the side. If you realize, actually, my knees are less sore after a walk, I'm not as stiff, I got more energy when I'm at the top of the hill, then keep them, because they're clearly going to work.
Yeah,
exactly. I think that was one thing James said about cycling, which is always perks my ears.
I can see you. It's those trigger words, isn't it? Cycling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I love cycling. So he cycles 5 days a week. No other fitness work for high altitude climbing and trekking. I'm a huge believer in cycling for training. To be honest with you, I think that it's the one thing I would try and do, because I need to cycle more. But when I was cycling a lot, and I did the same to you, I did Newport to Cardiff, Cardiff to Newport, which was 30 miles a day. And what it did do, though, was shorten my hamstrings. You know, so I became like really inflexible. So I start now, when I'm doing cycling, like trying to do some stretching and stuff like that, because you can easily pull one when you're walking. And if a hamstring goes, then it's quite hard to overcome.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I know it happened to you, and when we did Glencoe, right? Glencoe Challenge.
Yeah, I know my hamstring went probably around 10 hours in. I think we had a couple of hours left, so the last couple of hours was hard work.
Well, 8 hours. We did it in 10.5, mate. Come on, give us credit.
Was it 10.5? Yeah, something like that.
Hours we did it. Yeah, I know. Like the last 2 hours, were pretty bad for you. So that can happen. So yeah, just but in terms of your fitness, I think cycling's great, especially if you've got some hills, because cycling up a steep hill feels remarkably like hiking at altitude, because you're moving quite slowly uphill, but your heart and lungs are just going crazy. So yeah, I think you know, cardiovascular fitness stuff, that's fine. Just combine it with some stretching and stuff like that. I mean, James, you know, you've done Island Peak.
I was going to say he knows what he's doing, but I think to add to that as well is never just do one thing. And although the cycling is great, you're not if you're not cycling to these places, you are hiking. So get out there and do some hiking as well, just to have that balance. I think instead of like if it was me, just my gut saying, even though the cycling is great for me from a cardiovascular point of view, you're going to be walking, you're going to be climbing. So do some of that as well as that. I mean, that's why I always think find a little balance. But like Dave said there, James, you know your body better than most people. And if it works for you and then you're having success with it, then awesome, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a really good point though. Like, I mean, I think we both said it a few times that we're big believers. If you're going walking, you should train by walking. If you're going cycling, train by cycling. So you need to get the body mountain fit and used to doing what it's going to be doing for 8 days. But
exactly.
I think that ultimately, if what you're doing makes you fitter and stronger, it's not going to have a negative effect.
Yeah, exactly. There was a question I had, because I'm just going through some of the emails, because we had a nice few emails yesterday, just around the live, people who can't make it. It's great. You know, we've started to get loads in the last few weeks, so I really appreciate that. People catching this up on the replay. But I'll start off and we'll just go down. I know Steve Edwards, you mentioned, I know you don't have a crystal ball about the future. What are the plans to accommodate missed trips? from 2020 and the ones in 2021. So yeah, Steve, it's been a crazy sort of 6-7 months now, and although we thought by the autumn that this wonderful COVID would have disappeared, it hasn't done, and I think we're all sort of getting used to living with that at the moment. I say getting used to, just having to getting used to it. But yeah, we with regards to the way we've accommodated, anyone that's been booked in the autumn, for example. I mean, the spring was when it first hit, and a lot of people have been really accommodating and have moved their trips. We offer free rescheduling, so we know it's big, and ultimately for us, we don't organize your international flights, so it's made it a little bit easier to move trips. So we're trying to be as ultimate flexible as we can. In regards to moving dates, some people have even moved trips if they wanted. I know they've done that, but we understand that this thing is unprecedented, so we're trying to work with you in terms of doing that. So yeah, if you want to move your trip, we can do, and there's no cost to that. We've also, we realize some people have, things have happened in their life and they want to push it a couple of years down the line. Look, who knows when this COVID is going to go away, but we're certainly here, going forward, and we're not going anywhere. That's why we started doing these lives, so we can start chatting about things and doing these Q&As, because there's a lot of questions that need answering. And one of those, Steve, is about, when am I going to go on a trip? So yeah, we're here, and yeah, anything that you need, just give us a shout. Yeah.
So we have an interesting one as well, which I'm actually quite interested in, because I'm not 100% certain myself. Which was from Stuart Buse.
Yeah.
And he said he's looking to get a good insulated jacket to do Killian 2022 and hopefully EBC in 23. Are there any recommendations for the best synthetic down jacket, as normal down triggers his asthma?
Really? Okay.
And I'm quite interested, because to be honest with you, Stuart, I am not an expert on like the best sort of strictly synthetic. I know Patagonia, I think they're pretty much fully synthetic now, because they've gone down the ethical, all of their
massive on sustainability, aren't they?
Sustainability, yeah. So I'm pretty certain that that's they might do. So I would try Patagonia, see if they've got some. I think most of the top brands do them. I know Rab, I'm pretty sure, had a insulated synthetic jacket as well, but I'm not 100% certain.
I think a lot of companies have kind of brought it in. They realise that there's especially they're following what Patagonia have done, really. And yeah, if any of you watching on the live that know of a type of jacket like this that can help Stuart, do post, because I know that, although we use these jackets and we have a lot of experience over the last sort of 5-6 years regarding these jackets, there's a lot of new ones that come on the market that we might not know of. So yeah, if any of you got any recommendations for...
Where's Diane when we need her? Diane.
I know. I was going to say, I haven't seen her name drop in yet, but it's certainly... She's been mining information when it comes to sort of. Here she is. I knew she'd drop in.
Diane. So Diane is our like resident sort of expert when it comes to like all the vegan trekking equipment, and actually has been like a really good fountain of knowledge for that type of thing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Because like you said, I don't buy a down jacket, every month. So so that I'm not 100% certain on what's changed, but actually be interested. The Columbia, good make as well. To know what one you choose actually there, Stuart. So keep us informed. Drop us an email next week and let us know if you actually make a call.
Diane was late. How are you late, Diane?
Yeah.
We're tired. No worries. Great to see you on here. It's great to see some new people as well. I saw David Clift. I think he's just booked on as well. David, great to see you on. Welcome to the community. And any questions, do fire them away. I know a lot of regulars on here as well who sort of join in every week. But it's always great to see some sort of new viewers as well. We'll just crack on with the email ones. Glenn wanted some questions about the logistics over in Nepal, Everest Base Camp. Basically about traveling out with a rucksack and a suitcase. And can you confirm that we leave the suitcase at the hotel with some clothes and return for afterwards? So firstly, just to answer that question, so when you arrive, say in Nepal at the hotel, you do actually get an EverTrek duffel bag, which is yours. So you can use that for the trip, and then you can actually take that back. So some people only arrive with their suitcase or with a backpack, which you can leave at the hotel in a secure storage room. Leave a clean pair of clothes in there, because you're going to get dirty and dusty when you're out on the trek. Yeah. So when you come back there and you've got all these nice new clothes when you're going out for some food or a beer. Yeah. So especially, I know you mentioned there that you travel light. So yeah, for the trip, that is, for the trek. So with the weight allowance, if you like, I say allowance, that it's mainly the airlines that place this, but we don't want to go too big for our porters. We usually say keep it to about 15 kgs with the duffel bag and your day pack as well. So don't stack it full of water. Wait until you arrive in Lukla, that is. But yeah, if you can get it under 15 kgs, that's what you want to kind of aim for. Yeah, so good questions there.
Awesome. Davey has asked, what animals and insects can we expect on Kilimanjaro?
Yeah, I like that.
Well, it depends on where you are. So you've got about 5 climate zones on Kilimanjaro. The most sort of diverse wildlife you'll see is in the first sort of 2 to 3 days, particularly the first 2 and the last day, where you're in the jungle. So you'll see monkeys, blue monkeys, I think they're called, blue monkeys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, anyway, they'll be above you in the trees peeing on you with us, you know, and yeah, and you'll see like, and then higher up then, so mainly it's the monkeys that attract all the attention in the jungles and stuff like that. Then as you go higher up, you're going to see, we saw lots of these like ravens, didn't we, Andy? Are they ravens or crows? These big black birds. I think I saw like an eagle or something like that. Not 100% sure on that. Might have been hallucinating from altitude, but I'm pretty sure I saw an eagle.
Definitely sounded like David Attenborough now, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Insect-wise, you're definitely going to get some mosquitoes on Kilimanjaro. It was actually a bit of a learning curve for me because I didn't expect to see any because of the altitude, but they do survive fairly high up on the hill. So make sure you're keeping your malaria pills up for the entire duration of the trip, even when you're at extreme altitude. But yeah, so like above them, when you get high on Kili, you don't really see much. More interesting than I suppose the animals, when there aren't any, is those trees. And do you remember the name of them? Those weird trees that like they grow near water and they grow like a very long, thin trunk.
Yeah, this is where we need Elaine. Because she was our group botanist.
I know Brooke's on here. So Brooke, if you want to sort of be deputized very quickly, do you remember the name of those, or can you Google them and find out?
But again, this is part of it, isn't it? When you kind of go there, and it's part about exploring and seeing these things. There's not too many wild animals up there because of where you are, but there are some. You know, but that's one of the things that when you go there and you can. Oh, here we go. This is where Jerome is a mine of knowledge when it comes to Kili, because I know he documented it when he was there, and he's got a couple of names there: the African hooded raven and the colobus monkey. There we go.
Monkey. Okay,
Jerome, so you know the tree. This is the next challenge now.
Yeah, Jerome, do you know the tree? That's the animals. Everyone knows the animals. Jerome, do you know the tree? What was I going to say? So yeah, Karen Badet. Applause for getting the name right. And
this is like the 20th time now. You should have got it right, Dave.
Yeah. So Karen doesn't think she gets to keep the bag, the duffel bag.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Karen.
Or should we keep it?
Of course, you get to keep it. Yeah, and Jerome's asked as well. What do we get them before we arrive? So we actually get them made locally in Nepal. So I know we're working on getting the Tanzanian ones made as well. But currently in Nepal, the way we've done it the last few years is that you get it when you arrive. Just because we kind of get it sourced locally. You know, there's a place we sort of hooked up there, really good, and it's worked really well the way we've done it. I know it's like, can I have it now to excuse me, to pack before I go out there? But again, you got to look at the. I'm trying to think where I was coming from now. But when it's made locally, especially when you get to bring it back, it's just a lot easier in Nepal, from what we found anyway. But yeah, Jerome, so you'll have one there waiting for you, mate, when you arrive.
Nice.
Right, yeah, we're going on the Aid Priest has asked. Let's have a little look. There were many other trips. So he's doing Kili in Feb next year, all fingers crossed, and then Everest Base Camp, Gokyo Lakes in April 22. Yeah, he got some good questions actually. There are many other trips that interest me. I was thinking one a year is optimal. Do people do more than one? And if so, what would be your recommendation? Wow. Yeah, there's so it depends on what your time is and how much, annual leave, if you've got spare time. I mean, you can do as many as you want to do. With regards to how many trips you do a year, I mean, I think most people do one a year. With us, especially as we started, because our sort of Big Mac, if you like, was Everest Base Camp, and now we've started to do some new trips. A lot of people have been doing those with us. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you wanted to squeeze in two, there's yeah, no worries. You can do that as well. Dave, how many trips would you like to do in a year?
Say that again.
How many trips would you like to do in 1 year?
How many would I like to do in a year? Well, 12, I think. 12, yeah, because I think 1 a month is fine, considering each trip is about 3 weeks. So I got a week off before I start my next one. So yeah, that'd be an amazing life. Why is that an option? And am I being incentivized?
I was thinking, how many would Dave do?
Yeah, I'd be out there my whole time. I mean,
yeah, I know you would.
Honestly, like, I think doing these trips and stuff like that, they changed my life. I'm the most ever at peace. When people say you need to practice mindfulness and all of that sort of stuff, going to the mountains and doing a trip is like manna for the soul, man. It's just like every day is just pure mindfulness. You're just living in the moment, enjoying yourself, and you've only got one goal. That's wake up in the morning and walk from A to B. It's amazing. It
is, isn't it? No, it's something. It certainly changed my life when I first went to Everest, and obviously this is what followed. But there's a lot of. It's very underrated going walking. It's especially now with all the challenges that everyone's been facing worldwide with COVID. It's good just to get out and do some walking and clear your mind and enjoy the challenge as well. There's something about taking on challenges, and it's that question, isn't it? Why do we do it? And it depends on you. It depends. Some people do it for charity. Some people prove themselves. What's that?
I know why.
Go on.
Because it's there.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for someone else to comment with that.
Well, Philip Pomeroy has also asked as well, what's the situation with COVID and Peru for 2021? And also, what's our views on camp/hut slippers? First of all, Peru, so South America, like the rest of the world, has been hit pretty bad with COVID. But we're anticipating that April 2021 is going to be all toasty. So we're going to go over there, we're going to do some trips, and it's going to be awesome. Like always, we're going to be in constant communication with everybody. As soon as we know something, you know something. But more importantly, camp slippers, bring a pair. Why not? It depends. Like I tend to just have like a pair of trainers, and that's what I'll have. But and flip-flops. So I'll use trainers and flip-flops and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of people, if you like to stay warm, you can buy those little like down slippers and stuff. I think North Face do them as well. So yeah, you can put them on and stay warm in the TAs. It's probably mostly used at Gorek Shep when it's like really cold and stuff like that.
Well, it's very cold there. It can be. It depends on what time of year you go in, but Gorek Shep has that place that everyone says, "Oh, it was cold at Gorek Shep." Everyone says it.
Yeah, no one's ever left Gorek Shep and thought, "Man, that was boiling."
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going through here. Jennifer K has asked about interested to know your thoughts on breathing techniques and any benefit of those. Did you see David Blaine Ascension? So when it comes to when you're walking at altitude, there's certain things that that are out there. Personally, I've kind of come across the very first time I went to Everest Base Camp, because I suffer with asthma. I have done all my life, so I kind of live with it. And one thing I kind of do, it's almost like you're forcing air into your lungs. It's very similar to the way that there's a guy called Wim Hof, which does. I didn't know this at the time because I was just doing it naturally. But since then, I've come across this guy, and he's amazing. Done a lot of research about him, and there's an app you can download called Wim Hof. He's basically a guy that controls his heart rate through meditation, and also as well cold water therapy and breathing techniques. And one of the ones he does is like you breathe all the way in, almost to like you can't do any more, and then you kind of breathe again. So you're trying to expand your lungs as much as you can. It's a really good way of doing it. But what I tried to do is almost when you're hiking at altitude now is when you breathe in and you almost like force it in, and it really gets that oxygen because I can't breathe through my nose, so I have to do all of it through my mouth. I breathe it in as far as I can go, and almost not quite hyperventilating, but it's like you're charging your body full of oxygen.
Yeah.
And it really helped me. And almost, Dave, I remember the time that we went together, and you heard me doing these breathing exercises, and you were like, "Is he all right?"
Yeah.
Well, and then when I got to the top of the steps, but I talked normally because I didn't get out of breath.
It was weird at that time. I think you were behind me, and all I could do was like, and I was like, God, I don't want to look back because I know I'm going to have to carry him. And then I look back, and you know, and he was totally
Exactly.
fine. Yeah, another one that I read about, and it is strange because I realized I do this naturally anyway. So maybe this is the Dave method, but I think it's got a name and it's been around. But is you breathe in as deep as you can, and then you force it out very quickly.
Yes.
And I tend to do it at the end of a climb anyway. So when I'm at the top, I'll go like, and you're gonna like rush it out. And apparently that type of breathing sort of is good for like trying to acclimatize and to deal with altitude. I honestly don't know if it works. It just tends to feel good because it's like, I think it's more you're just taking a deep breath, full expansion of the lungs, and then get it out, and then you just kind of like reset. Nawang, namaste, Nawang. How are you doing?
Nawang, is Nawang on here?
Yeah, Nawang's on here. Yeah, excellent climber, really, really good climber and guide, one of our best.
Yeah, one of our best, isn't it?
Yeah,
I can see people talking about Aconcagua already.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah, I wonder if Nawang has done Aconcagua. I know he's done Lenin Peak.
Yeah, he has actually, isn't he? Because he's done a lot of peaks outside of Nepal. Nawang, have you done Aconcagua in South America? I see if he's on here. I know we're a little bit delayed. It's quite funny because people are commenting on stuff we talked about 2 minutes ago, and I know
have we got a delay? Have we?
There might be a little bit of a delay. But yeah, whilst we're on this subject, because we're talking about breathing, I think Leah Volpe, who was from Australia, is the breathing at altitude like asthma at all? Lots of yawning and needing to breathe faster and deeper. Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's kind of like asthma, because sometimes asthma can feel, it like restricts you almost feel like someone's standing on your chest, and it doesn't really feel like that because you breathe the same. So like Dave, I know you're not asthmatic, and when you breathe, there's no difference to when you're altitude to when you're at sea level in terms of the way you breathe. It's just that you need to breathe more often.
Yeah, right? You just get out of breath a lot sooner than you normally would. So, you know, back in the UK, imagine if you're like lying on the ground and you have to get up, unzip a tent and walk outside, you're not going to be out of breath. When you do that at altitude, so if you will be out of breath, and when you get out the tent and stand up, you might have to like catch your breath a little bit. So it's kind of like that. But if we were sat all down around a table playing cards and chatting at 5,000 meters, you would be able to do that. You know, you wouldn't necessarily, you know, at rest and just breathing normally. It doesn't feel any different. What's different is that with each breath, there's less oxygen within the breath. You know, so and then your body, so naturally it's getting less into itself. So it's the breathing is the same, you're just getting less of what you need. It's really strange. I mean, it affects a lot of people differently as well. But from a non-asthmatic's perspective, I don't think I notice any real difference at all. I just get out of breath a lot sooner than I normally would, and it can potentially take a little bit longer to catch your breath once you like try to.
And Leah mentioned like yawning and almost like, you know, because you're trying to get more oxygen in. It does happen. I remember a couple of times, above 5,000 meters, and you do find yourself yawning might be because you're tired, but probably is because you are, you know, your body's thinking, I need some more oxygen. So there's lots of ways that your body tries to do that. Obviously, you're breathing more, or you're yawning. It doesn't. I wouldn't be worried about that at all. It's just your body's natural reaction to dealing with the altitude. You know, I wouldn't see it as like a warning sign as such. But yeah, really good question. I love these things about that kind of stuff, because for me, it was for years it actually put me off wanting to do the Himalayas. You know, going back like 10, 15 years ago, because I didn't think I could do it because of my asthma. And it wasn't until I actually just done it and just booked a flight and went out there and did it that I was like, okay, asthma, it doesn't harm, it doesn't stop you from doing that at all. And James made a good point there. You can do it. You know, you can do it if you can, and if you want to, and if you're determined, you can really get past a lot of those barriers that sometimes hold people back.
Well, what's that saying, Anne? Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're probably right.
You're probably right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I know, I think they were referring to Aconcagua and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a huge, massive undertaking.
It is.
You know, I think, you know, it's nearly 7,000 meters, highest mountain outside the Himalayas. So, you know, it's serious. But I think it is very doable because it's not a technical mountain. So it's about adjusting. And I think, having that mental side of things is a huge part to how well you adjust to these things. Because I remember my first ever trip to EBC, I actually was taking an anti-inflammatory medication for my knee called naproxen.
Was that it was dodgy?
Yeah, well, naproxen's really, really strong. But what I didn't realize was that I was taking them almost like ibuprofen, and you're not supposed to do that. So what I did was I took one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then like one in the evening. And I'd done that for about 2-3 days, and I started noticing like a tingling in my lips and my ears and my fingers, and then it got really bad. It was almost all over my body. And I remember talking to my guide thinking like, but I've had these pills before, so it can't be that. It must be the altitude. And you start to almost get a little bit of a panic. And it wasn't. It was the pills. I took too many and started to feel a bit unwell. So now I haven't taken one since. But my guide made a really good point there, which was when people are at altitude, they monitor their bodies like it's a Formula One car, and you need to, but it's not like that. It's almost like an old reliable car that maybe a noise appears that you haven't heard before. Maybe something starts rattling that it wasn't rattling before, but it's all normal because your body's never been to altitude before.
Yeah, your body's moving it out.
Exactly. So you're going to experience a lot of bodily changes and things are going to be different and feel different. But ultimately, if your mind is right and your mindset's in a good place, you'll be able to handle all of that,
Yeah, I just saw Ramona. Ramona, great to see you on. I love that. I did EBC with a heart problem, exercise-induced asthma, recovering addict and PTSD, being a crazy Irish lassie. If I can do it, anyone can. I love that. Great stuff. Great stuff, Ramona. She's very inspirational, massively inspirational.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, loads of questions. I think we're going to fire through them because there's still a while to go. I can't believe we've been going for 45 minutes already. One from Karen Barnett again. Can you put much weight through the poles for bad knees? Yeah, they do help a lot. One thing I've noticed I use them, say if I'm going out for 3-4 hours, or even if you're going out for 10, using them the whole way, my knees don't hurt. Whereas if I didn't, then they probably would. And I know a good friend of mine now, Doug, and he's actually been on 2 trips with us to Everest Base Camp, and he's done Killy with us back in February, and we've done a lot of hikes up in Scotland. He's done the Glencoe Challenge. We did the Glen Shield Ridge, which was 7 Monroes, which was awesome. Highly recommend it if any of you fancy doing a long ass day. But anyway,
I heard it was a bit longer at the end, and
what's that?
I heard it was a bit longer towards the end. Yeah.
Well, it took us like 8 hours or 9 hours.
Yeah, but I think
4 hours.
I remember hearing one member of the group spotted a path, and then another member of the group spotted a really rocky valley, and you all went down the valley. Was that an Andy shortcut?
It was an Andy shortcut, yeah. I do like off-piste challenging shortcuts, which aren't great for the knees, I just have to say. And Doug struggled with his knees, but the point is, he's used poles and he's noticed a difference, and it did make a difference on his knee. And putting that weight through the poles rather than his knee meant that, one, he's going to be able to walk longer, but his knees are going to last longer into his life. And also as well, he can put the strain on the poles instead of your knee. So fully behind the poles there.
Exactly. I know Kelvin Vernon. Welcome, Kelvin. I think, have you been on before? Don't recognise your name. Sorry if you have been.
Kelvin,
how regular are the water refill stops on EBC? So basically, you can have water whenever you need it. Generally, we always recommend, in fact, we strongly recommend you have a water bladder, at least 2 liters in your rucksack. So 2 liters of water should normally be enough to get you most of the way there. But you will always have a lunch stop in the middle of the day as well, and there's always a good opportunity to fill up as well. Whenever you want water, you can have it. There's no problem at all. Dave, when am I out on parole? Never be in parole, mate. Never be in parole. I'm a lifer.
It's when they let us out of this local lockdown, especially because our office is in Caerphilly. It's always a bit of a challenge. I managed to get here, but Dave, I know you like the old Newport, don't you?
Well, it's not a matter of liking, mate. Like I said, I'm a lifer at HMP EverTrek.
Jerome's asked a good question. Doing EBC in October 21 will growing a beard help? Well, it certainly won't hinder you.
No.
And you just look cool as well, Jerome. So go for it.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm quite surprised you don't already have a beard, Jerome. I'm actually getting a bit hungry now, and I'm gonna have a root around in a minute and try and find something. But everyone loves a frosted mustache picture on top of a summit or something like that. So a beard will help. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, so Matt Wood again. Christmas coming. Wow, I can't believe it is. We're almost into October, aren't we? It's
Wow.
yeah, man.
Christmas.
Crocs or Rab slippers for those chilly nights and foot relief. Dave, I know you take similar to Crocs.
Yeah, I take well, I don't know if I want to go full Croc yet, but no, I just take some Adidas sliders. So just like I bought them from like Sports Direct or something, like Adidas sliders that you can just like slide your feet into. The reason why I prefer those over, well, strictly flip-flops is because when you wake up in the night, most times at EBC, if it's cold, you'll be sleeping with your socks on as well, so you can just slip them in and go for a walk. That's all I ever use. I don't really get that cold in terms of like cold feet, cold hands. I run quite hot, generally speaking, so I'm more likely to, like, you know, take my socks off than put like insulated slippers on.
Yeah.
So yeah, whether or not you want, it depends on sort of how warm you like to be. Personally, I think, you know, pair of hiking boots, pair of trainers, and some, you know, flip-flops or sliders is all you need. But I know a lot of people bring the insulated ones and they absolutely love them. So yeah,
they do, don't they?
What I would recommend is wait for winter, go out on a cold night, camp, and see which ones you want to bring with you, and that will give you a good idea.
Yeah, nice. Julie Dallow has asked, Killy or EBC is the warmest trip overall? What time of year? So you feel the cold terribly. So yeah, all the trips we do, because they're at high altitude, inherently it's colder. Warmest trip I'd probably say is Machu Picchu, because you are at lower altitude, you're not far from the Amazon. You know, the Peruvian Andes can be cold, but you know, it also can be quite warm, you know, talking 25, 30 degrees. But with Tanzania, it's very warm. Once you get above, I'd say 3,500 meters, then it becomes colder.
Yeah.
In Nepal, I don't think, I mean, during the day, even during winter in Nepal, it can be warm. Because you're a high altitude, the UV rays, you know, they're more penetrating, so you'll burn easier, you'll feel warmer, especially in the sun. As soon as as soon as nighttime comes, anywhere you'll be cold. But Dave, if you were going to pick one trip that if you didn't like the cold and it's a high altitude, where would you go?
Bahamas.
It's got to be high.
It's got to be high altitude. Hawaii. Yeah, I think
one of our trips.
To be honest, I'd probably, if I wanted to go to real high altitude, like I said, Andy made a good point about Machu Picchu, you know. So although you do go to high altitude, it's not like extreme high altitude. But if you wanted to like bag I'd maybe suggest Kili, because you're going to get the best of both. Now, the summit, well, there's no way around it. It's
I could say.
But down in Moshi, it was like 38 degrees. You know, so when you are cold, you know that when you get down, you're going to be in like boiling hot water with a pool and stuff like that. Yeah. There is a pool in the hotel. So it's entirely up to you. But I think, yeah, Machu Picchu, if you want like a more stable sort of every day's more or less the same kind of temperature, except in the nights when it'll drop. Kili, if you want like really hot weather, and then really, really cold weather, followed by really, really hot. I tell you what, though, I just spotted something really interesting, which I think we can run with here. So where is it here? Matthew Woods, stocking ideas. Trekking stocking fillers is a brilliant idea.
That's like, yeah, we should do one on that. But no, I've just coming up with because I just read that and I was thinking head torch.
Yeah, head torch. I would think nail clippers. So I always have nail clippers on my keys. So this here, see, Victorinox, and then it kind of like pops open.
Nail clippers.
Okay, sorts your nails out at altitude, helps you stay clean and healthy, and also gets rid of like little annoying bits of thread on your clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Battery packs is another one. Squeeze in the stocking.
Oh yeah, like power bank.
Anchor power banks.
Yeah. I was going to say crampons, but they might put a hole in it.
Well, it's actually it's funny you say crampons, because there's lots of stocking ideas, but I think Diane asked a really good question. Sorry we're taking so long to answer it, Diane. You mentioned how do we find out if our boots are crampon compatible? Because I know you're doing Toupcal, you're thinking, obviously, if I got the right boots, especially because I know you got your vegan Gore-Tex boots, and the Merrells are your most comfortable. Will they work? So yeah, each boot, there's kind of a grade. So you got, when it comes to boot, they grade them B1 to B3. Same with crampons, they have C1 to C3. When you buy them, basically they'll show you that they are C1 compatible, which means that's the most flexible crampon that you can attach to it. If that's the base, so they'll go all the way up to C3, which is like a really hard climbing Everest crampon, you know, rigid. So yeah, if you're looking for any boots, just make sure that they are C1 compatible. Dave, is that right? Is there any other little
yeah,
bits?
so I think yeah, B1, B2 generally speaking, so C1 a bit like, if you want a visual what the crampon you're looking for looks like, it has like the you know, like a toe cage you get on a pair of like pedals for a bicycle.
Yeah,
it's got one of them at the front and one of them at the back, so it doesn't actually clip onto your boot. It just kind of wraps around it and then you tie them. They're the generic ones that will fit most boots. And then you've got like C2, which will have a welt at the back of the boot.
Yeah.
And it'll clamp on at the back and have like a toe cage at the front. So yeah, if you put on like generic crampon in Google, or non-automatic crampon, because sometimes they're called automatic, yeah, that's what you're looking for. But yeah, it gets quite complicated with boots, doesn't it? Like B1, B2, B3, and then there are ungraded boots. Like a lot of hiking boots don't have a B. You know, they just have like a.
There are some hiking boots that you can get away with it if they're quite rigid. They won't be advertised as a crampon compatible, but they will work.
Like the Trobats, in there, you got the.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, they actually are B1. So
they B1,
they are actually advertised as crampon compatible. But you've got some boots that there aren't. I'd say if you're going to get, you know, boots from a store, ask in store as well. That, you know, these guys are the equipment experts. You know, for specific boots. So yeah, just double check with them. You know, make sure it's got the lip on the front or the back as well. You know, so you can you know, double check that. So yeah, with crampons, I'm not sure if you asked it yet, but you can get them locally in Morocco as well. So if you don't want to buy your own because you're only going to Toubkal once. Oh, here we go. Diane's asked, do we need them or not? Yeah, you can just use them locally. It's not a problem, Diane. We can organise that.
Yeah, but who asked them for Killy? So Kathy Baker, do you need crampons for Killy? No, it's fine. Just hiking boots. You know, a good pair of hiking boots is all you need. It is glaciated at the top, but there's like a well-trodden sort of way to get through. You don't have to climb or anything like that. So no, just hiking boots for Killy is all you need.
Yeah, and also as well, Marie Pritchard has asked about, are we putting on any more training weekends or any more dates? There's 3 weekends on the website. Just wondered if there'd be any more. Yes, we so over the last about 4 or 5 days, we've actually been putting some other trips on there as well, because we realised that we did a little bit of a sort of poll really in the EverTrekkers group on Facebook, and some people mentioned about winter skills, as well as doing some adventures as well, sort of Scotland and also North Wales. So we've actually got some trips planned going into next year. Really excited about those. You know, some mountaineering trips in Scotland, and also winter skills, navigation, things like that in North Wales as well, with our good friends at Aim Higher. So although we won't be running the trips, you know, they're fully EverTrekkified, if you like. You know, it won't be so much about the altitude, but it will be about learning new skills that you can use in the mountains that will help you anywhere. Yeah, so they're great weekends. If you know, regarding like myself, Dave, and the EverTrek team, we've got 3 dates. I think the ones you're referring to for next year, but we do always open up more going into sort of the summertime next year, especially because of the you know, we had to cancel a couple this year, and we were like, you know,
yeah,
so frustrated, because we love these weekends. We love meeting you guys and hanging out and doing some awesome trekking. You know, we're like you, we love getting out and enjoying and socializing, you know, keeping hydrated and seeing some of the amazing sights in the world. So yeah, we can't wait to run these. We've put 3 up already. We're likely getting the a few more dates on there really soon. With regards to the training weekends on the website, if you do go to the destinations page and then just select with regards to the altitude, it'll have basically what altitude it is. If you just put 0 to 1,000 meters, I think that's the feature there. It'll bring up the training weekends, and you can have a little look. And those are the winter skills ones as well. We're thinking about creating a kind of separate area for these, rather than just being mixed with all the other trips. But at the moment, you can view them on the website if you go to the destinations page. which is EverTrek/destinations, and then you can have a look at all the training weekends we do. Okay. Nice. Any more questions, Dave? I know we've had loads today. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have missed any. I know Karen Badet has asked, do you need them for EBC then? Assuming you mean crampons, not for the classic EBC route. There's a possibility if you're on GoCure or the 3 passes that you will need them, only because when you go over the high passes, they can be, if there's bad weather, you might need them. But if so, they'll be provided, and quite often they're the sort of universal ones that fit to a hiking boot, and your guide will have them. So yeah, basically the only trip where I think you're 100% guaranteed to need like a proper crampon is like Aconcagua at the moment. So like Aconcagua will be that type of trip where you have to get the proper crampons and stuff like that, but not EBC.
One question actually I think we did miss was Karen. I think Karen Barnett, she asked about how many days either side of the trip do we need to book flights for safe margin? Karen, I presume, I'm trying to remember if you're going to Nepal. Is it Nepal, Dave? Karen's going?
Yes.
Not anywhere else. Yeah, we do always. I mean, you don't have to, because we have the trips rarely get delayed. 9 times out of 10 it's all fine. But yeah, some people do like to add on a day or 2 at the end, just because they can hang around Kathmandu, or maybe they want to just chill out for a couple of days before they go back home.
Yeah.
And then that does fit nicely, that if it does get delayed, you've got a couple of buffer days. So that is what what most people do, to be honest. We have toyed with increasing the itinerary a little bit just to accommodate, but as you can imagine, lots of people have booked on these trips already, and because we do groups, a little bit difficult to do that. Yeah. But yeah, if you wanted to book a couple of days yourself, just let us know. And obviously before you arrive, and then we'll look after we'll organize the hotels, as long as because when you upload your flight details in the members area, we can access that data, so we know then how many days that you're going to be afterwards, and we can reserve the hotel for you.
Yeah, exactly. And you can go down to Chitwan or do something like that when you're out there. If you've got an extra few days, there's loads to do, or hang around Kathmandu and just go back to the places under your own steam. Yeah. It's really nice to do, I think, if you just have an extra day. But yeah, like Andy said, it's not a requirement. The itinerary's built so you can go there and not have to think about that. But I always have an extra day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can relax, you get a massage, It's always good. But yeah, right, guys. It's been an awesome live. We've had heaps of questions, so thanks for everyone joining us. Obviously, we're back next week with another one. But yeah, other than that, Dave, it's been awesome. You enjoying your time there? Any day release soon, Dave? Or?
Well, hopefully, yeah. But I mean, I want to be back in the office. So I can go down and order my food and not have to make it myself. I'm pretty lazy, but yeah. Other than that, next week, I guess. Nice. Same Yeti time, same Yeti channel, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. No, that'd be great. I think over the next couple of weeks as well, there's something that we're going to be doing, which I'll just give you a little sneak, is that we've come up with a really good Fee, who's our new Bimblin Yeti. I should say new. She's been here about 6 weeks already. But she's doing some stuff regarding our charity work. So we're going to bring Fee onto one of these lives as well, and she's going to talk about how to support charities, how to fundraise, all that good stuff, and also how you can do it with us as well, because we've got some plans, some exciting new stuff coming up with helping our staff, because we realise it's quite challenging at the moment, and also supporting some cause that's quite close to home, to our causes and things we like as well. So I won't spoil what that is, but we'll certainly be talking about that in the next couple of weeks.
Excellent. Awesome. Yep, that's all the best. Keith, I've just spotted your question about Nepal. Drop me an email, info@evertrek.co.uk. The rest, all the best, guys.
Yeah, great stuff. All the best. See you soon.
Bye.